So in terms of like working together with me, how did I help you really see your entire financial life as an integrated whole rather than all these little pieces? How did we begin that? What have I done that's helped you really see that?
I would say that I was always focused on the little things like, okay, I got to pay the heating bill or just do the little day-to-day things. And then when we became your clients, it was like I was able to see more of the big picture. Yeah, these little things are important day to day, but what does that mean for the future? Just yeah, you familiarized me with the greater financial picture than I have day to day.
So Summer, let me ask you, so in terms of educating, like you're super bright, you get all this stuff, but I know some of it is fairly new. Talk a second about the education that I've provided, how that's been helpful, things maybe that I've said and taught you that you're like, "Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool for me to know now." Can you think of any
It's kind of hard to
specifics
think of.
around that?
I mean, I don't know that any like specific things will come to mind, but just like all the different and I'm like, "Oh, what's the jargon?" But like we're going to talk about Roth IRAs. So I'm like, "Oh, before I didn't really know what that was or how investing in one your company that you work for farther." I was like, "Well, what does that do? Are we investing in farther?" Like I didn't understand it. And so now I'm like, "No, we have these things that are longer term. We have some things that are higher risk, some that are lower risk, and you kind of want to balance so that um, things will grow, but it's not risky or as risky." So I'm trying. I don't know. I can't think of specific like terms, but even just, maybe goals, you educated us on goals, like what our future goals should be or what they could be, like, you helped us think about what our, um, priorities were, and so that was educational to me, and I don't know if that really answers it, but that's kind
That's
of all
great.
that's
No,
coming to mind.
perfect. Perfect. Dion, what about your thoughts around that? Seeing the financial life as an integrated whole.
Yeah, I mean, I think early on you helped us see how it's not just the money on a spreadsheet. It's like what's important to us and how that ties into both income and savings and spending. Early on we talked about things like, well, visiting family or supporting aging family members or, going on vacation with our kids and how those tie into the financial picture. Like that's been an important part of our relationship is you helping us not only understand that link, but make it happen. And I think for the last 15 years, we've been making it happen. I think because you've been helping us make that link.
Very
Otherwise,
cool.
it would just be a spreadsheet somewhere.
That's very cool. Well, you guys don't have a problem making it happen. I
I do.
love that about you. So I
I
love to watch you do it.
I also think you've done a good job of using the tools available to you, which has been now at a few different companies, to give us a big picture, right? That ability to pull in numbers from different accounts and kind of show them on one screen. And okay, what does that look like as we project models into the future? And what's your chance of success? Like we've gone through two or three or maybe four different iterations of software, but the concept has always been the same of let's aggregate this information in a way that you can consume it and understand it and model it. Like that's been super valuable. I love that the way you use the tools.
Interesting. And you're talking specifically about like our Monte Carlo simulations where we give you like that likelihood of success score. Is that
Right.
what you're talking about
Yeah.
specifically?
And in previous, lives, there were other tools that did similar things in terms of, you know, lumping money into goals or, timelines, things like that.
Any specific examples or times when integrating like different parts of your finances, the investments, the retirement, the taxes, the estate, do you feel like led to a better outcome that it might have been otherwise if we didn't look at that kind of on a holistic?
I mean, I can say yes to that. I think every year, specifically the tax benefits, you're helpful at finding ways to optimize our tax situation, whether that means donating stock, which I think we've done for every year in the last 10 years, probably, to, when we're selling positions to sell ones with, keeping in mind the tax implications of those transactions. That's been helpful. And we've had, some extraordinary years and some normal years and you've helped us navigate the tax situation in every case. I also think that you've been really good at helping us take advantage of those years when, certain positions are up, and it's like, let's take some cash off the table and use it for a different purpose. We updated our house, we updated our backyard, we did some big trips and purchases. I think a lot of that is because you're paying attention to, hey, we've got some stuff here we can take off the table without jeopardizing your long-term plan or even your short-term plan.
Very cool. Talk a little more about like integrating with your accountant. Has that been helpful? What ways have we done that? What have you found useful about that as we've tried to kind of coordinate together with
Yeah, I think it has been helpful. I mean, I think in most years I'm the go-between. I meet with the accountant and I meet with you, and we kind of, I try to translate between the two. But I think in the most recent year, you actually spoke with him directly and even got, additional information. I can't remember now what we were talking about at the time, but I think it was tax advantage sales or something, you know, because basically we were looking at, okay, how do we do this without moving us into the next tax bracket? I think was the goal. And if I remember right, I think we achieved that goal. I'd have to go back and look, but anything we can do to streamline our lives in terms of getting to where we want to get, I think you've been super helpful at spotting those things, and then in at least one case talking directly to our tax guy.
very cool. Summer,
I thought of
any additions you want to say out to those pieces?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the tax necessarily, but one thing that I remember you helped us do, which I never would have thought of, is like you helped us create our trust, and then or like you referred us to who's helped us do that. And so I mean, I know he's different than the tax guy, but just I feel like things are safe, that things for our kids are put away. Like we have a plan because of that. Like I wouldn't have ever thought of making a trust. So that was
Mm,
something else that
mm,
was educational to me.
cool. Yeah.
You know, along those same lines is the umbrella insurance. Now we have an umbrella policy, which I didn't even know that existed. And
Interesting.
so, that's another area where you were like, maybe you guys should look at that. And so we've got one of those now.
Okay. Good. I'm finding you ways to spend your money, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Like trips to Europe. That's the best way to do it. Are there any times that you can think of when we adjusted our strategy based on a particular circumstance or concern that you had? Maybe we were headed down a certain direction and I found out and listened and learned some things and I was like, okay, like, all right, we're gonna pivot. We're gonna do something different than we were doing before.
Well, I can think of two cases. One was, I think it was around COVID that you were like, you know what, we're not going to do as much international. We're going to change, kind of pivot away from international. And for a while, we did more domestic and less international for whatever reasons in the macro economy that were happening. Another example is municipals. There was tax reasons because interest rates were going up, I think, that we were like, okay, we're going to change our bond strategy and mix it up. I really appreciate that you pay attention to that stuff because I don't really, it's like, okay, I read the news, I see a few things, but it's nice that you come to us with, hey, you guys should look at this because I think it's a better direction. Let's mix up our bond strategy based on the way the market's going.
Cool. Yeah. Very cool. Good. Yeah. And I have good managers that help me do that. And we use strategies to help dig that in. Yeah. That's great. What else? Dion, you're going to say something else?
Yeah, just one other case where um I think you were gonna like we were interested in doing real estate, anything, something. And so you were like, well, have you ever heard of a REIT? And I'm like, no. And so you kind of helped us invest in a REIT, reinsurance, or I mean, real estate. I don't even know what it stands
Real
for.
estate investment trust.
Right. Yeah. And so now we have one of those. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like it's another way of investing that we really wouldn't have thought of, but it's nice to have some diversification in that category. And
Great.
so far, so good. Like we're kind of having fun with it. I don't know that it's gone anywhere. I mean, it hasn't underperformed or overperformed, but it's kind of nice
Yeah.
to have that diversity in our portfolio.
Good. Yeah. Good. Um, Summer, how did you come to trust me as an advisor with finances and investments and being open with me and telling me all about your stuff that you probably don't tell anyone else with your money? How did you come to trust me?
I would say, well, a lot of it, I mean, we knew you personally, and so that helped. But then also, like, as we invested as like when we came to you and we had questions, you were able to answer our questions. You were able to, it made sense to me the way you explained things. And then once you were helping us with our money, like it's been good. Like we haven't, so that just builds the trust, like, okay, when he helps us make decisions and he tells us why, and then we're like, okay, that sounds good. We'll do it. Then the results have been good. And so, yeah, you've just
So
proven
the
yourself
initial
over the
trust
years.
is from knowing us, but then that trust builds by education, by performance, by consistency. Is that
Yeah.
fair to say?
Nice
Okay.
way to sum it up. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And for both of you, any particular moment when you realized, hey, this is really cool. I'm really enjoying this. I'm learning, and I'm really trusting what Mitch is doing. I know you've mentioned a few things in terms of like different solutions and options that I came to you with, and we used. But any particular moment where you're like, wow, I'm in good hands. I'm okay with this. I was a little nervous about this before, but now like I'm feeling really confident about it.
I can't think of a particular one. I feel like Dion deals more with the particular things, but just in general, like whenever we have a question, we're like, oh, we should ask Mitch. Oh, let me just ask Mitch. Like it comes up, pretty frequently that we're like, oh, we need to ask him about that. But I don't know, maybe you have some specific memories
Okay.
of what those were.
I mean, just in our meetings, when you would pull up that spreadsheet that showed growth, that's when it was like became real to me that it's not just we've been putting money into this account every week, or I mean, every month for years. It's like, no, if you look at the growth over and above your contributions, then it's like, oh, wow, this is actually gaining some traction. It's starting to have its own momentum. Then it was starting to open the doors to like, oh, wow, we can do stuff and we can like, you know, as we talked about, have goals around our finances and start to meet those goals. So that's
Yeah.
been the fun part for me is to see the results. I mean, early on, I was very sensitive to cost, and when I saw that the performance always outpaced any cost, to the point that the costs are just hidden, buried, whatever, they're embedded in this growth, that it's like, fine, whatever. Yeah, I'll pay $10 to make 100 or 1,000, right? Like that's a good deal. And it's
Yeah.
always been the case that the costs, have borne out that way, even in bad years.
That's
Well,
very cool.
bad years.
Yeah, and I mentioned early on, I really love working with you guys because like you get this, and I feel like you've grasped this not only from like a technical perspective and how quickly you guys grasp those pieces I give, but from a real life perspective. Like this, like I feel like you live the life you want. I look at that, and I honestly see you two on this pedestal of doing that. And I love that. Were you always like that? I'm trying to think. Like, is there ever a time? Because we've worked together a long time. Is there ever a time when you were just like, "Wow, okay, I really believe this stuff. This is good," and you know, the two of you said, "Let's do this. Let's really enjoy it." Any particular like thoughts or comments about that?
I just remember, like, I grew up and I wouldn't say we were poor, but we were very careful. My parents were very careful with our money. And and not that we're not careful, but I think I just stayed in this mindset, like, no, be really careful and make sure we're not overspending and, you know, get haircuts for the kids at the cheapest place and all of this. And I remember one time I came to you and you were like explaining something to us. And was like, wow, I'm always like debating if I should get that other pair of shoes. And you said, no, you can get the shoes. So that was kind of like an eye opening thing to me. Like, oh, yeah, I don't have to be worried, like I don't have to live in this mindset that I was used to of, are we gonna, end up in debt and, be stressed about it. I was like, oh, we're okay. We're okay. This is good. So I don't know if that answers your question.
That's fun. No, thank you, Summer. That of all the things that could be said, like if you say that, then I feel like okay, I'm doing something good for someone.
Yeah.
Because I want people to I want people to love their money and enjoy it and do something good with it. And like I said, you too do that in so many ways. And I love to watch and I love to live vicariously through your trips and travel and things like that.
Well, and
So
I think
do you have a comment about that?
yeah, one thing is that's become a little bit of a catchphrase in our home, like, "Just get the shoes." The other is there was a time when Summer bought a cow for a family through I think it's Heifer International or something. Yeah, it's like a thing, right, you donate and then they provide an animal where the family can now have some sustenance and maybe some income. And it
So
was eye-opening to me that, like, A, it's okay to contribute more than, 50 bucks to some cause, and B, that you can make a real difference in people's lives when you use your money for good. And that's been fun for me, and I think for us to look for and find new ways to help people who need it and who can really benefit from it. And that's maybe something we wouldn't have done if you hadn't given us the courage to be like, "Yeah, go ahead."
that's very cool. That's very cool. No, I love that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing those. Those are great. Okay. How do you feel about like the accessibility and timeliness, ability to reach me, the ability is to get a hold of me, my attentiveness to you and your needs? Anything that stands out in your mind about that?
It's easy. Like I feel like you're responsive when we have questions and you're always willing to set up a time to meet if we need something.
Yeah, I agree. I think you've been great. I mean, answering texts or emails, keeping us in the loop when you send out your cool little podcasts or whatever you send out, and even inviting us to like the market level conversations that somebody's having. Some big wigs are going to get on and talk about the war, or talk about the economy or the election. I've really enjoyed those. And, we've done a few in person where they brought in some specialists and talked about the economy. Like, I appreciate being invited to those things because that's something I don't experience in my normal business circles or, social circles. I also really like that we can get our money quickly. The most recent example, I think I asked you for the money on like a Monday, and I swear it was like in our account on Wednesday. And I'm like, wow, I was shocked at how fast the whole thing happened. And it was super
I was gonna
convenient.
bring it in the Brinks truck, but I thought it might be a little unwheelie to have it in your car.
That worked. The timing was really good for us because we were when trying to close, and it worked. We had all the money we needed at the time we needed it, so that was super nice.
Great, great. Talk a little about the monitoring and management of your investments, how that's affected your confidence in the portfolio stability, in the investment stability and growth.
Do you have any comments, Summer?
I mean, if this is kind of what you're asking, Dion at the end of every month like goes, looks at like all the websites, all the stuff, compiles it into a spreadsheet. I remember like he'll and when I'm like, oh gosh, that's a lot of money. Are we sure we should take that much out? And he's like, we can take this much out right now, and like next month it will be back to where we won't even know that it was gone. And
Mm.
so and stuff like for our yard or whatever. So when he does all that and he sees how it's growing and that does it totally gives me confidence because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you're right." And he's like, "Yeah, might as well use it to do something, good for someone else, something for our family, instead of just, like, let it grow and then give the government all the taxes on it or whatever." He's like, "Yeah, use it." So I'm glad that he keeps it all together so that he can see it and he can show me, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you're right."
And that just brings confidence for you, and that helps you not to worry about your money or your future or what you're spending. Are you able to spend better, more freely without feeling guilty
Yes,
now than maybe you had before?
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
was
good.
always like a nerve-wracking thing, or I don't know if it was like, I don't feel like I deserve this, or like, this is gonna
Mm,
be dangerous, or
mm,
something. I don't know
mm,
why. But
mm,
yeah, like over the years, it's gotten to where I'm like, oh, no, it's okay. We can do this. Like there was a one company, or I guess it's like a foundation that I've been really interested in. And I'm like, we can actually make a really big contribution. We don't have to just, like he said, we don't, oh, here's 50 bucks. And so, yeah. And before I'd be like, what? No
mm.
way. We're going to need that because we have to pay the bills. And I'm like, no, we have enough that we can be really generous
Very
sometimes
cool.
or,
And is there a
frequently.
specific thing that we do together somewhere that helps you feel that? Is it performance? Is it the planning? Is it kind of it all wrapped together? Is the fact that you have Dion, who's incredibly bright and super competent in this, obviously that helps. Anything in
It's
particular like that that you really are like, "Yeah, that just makes me feel confident."
I think it's all wrapped together because when we come and we have our, twice a year meetings with you and we see all the charts and you do the Monte Monte
Like,
Carlo
Carla.
thing, and I'm like, that helps." Um, and then just that he compiles it, because sometimes in my brain it's like, oh, we have this here and this here and that here, and we can get that money, but we can't get that money, and so it can be confusing. But then when we meet with you, and then when he compiles it all together, that makes me be able to see more clearly exactly what's going on with our money and where it is.
Yeah, and sorry, I was just going to
Please,
comment
go
that
ahead. Yeah.
performance is a big part of it, right? Like, I don't know that you can take all the credit for everything that's happened over the last, what,
No, because I
15,
don't
20
want all
years.
the blame. I don't want all the blame when it goes down.
But the fact that we crossed 40,000 on the Dow or whatever it is, S&P, I can't remember, one of those. It's like unbelievable, really. And I feel like you've done a good job of helping us take advantage of those gains without ever feeling like we had put everything at risk. We have had neighbors who've lost everything in kind of risky schemes, and at no point have we felt like we've been in part of a risky scheme. We've got this great diversified setup that has a risk score, and there's bonds and there's stocks and there's domestic and international. Having that comfort that even if we have a bad year or a bad election or a bad something,
Mm,
we're not going to have the rug pulled out from under us. And the performance speaks for itself. I mean, year over year, it's been amazing, really, what's happened. And so, if we were having this meeting and our numbers were flat for 20 years, we wouldn't be nearly as glowing, right? It's like I could have left that in Chase Bank and been where I am today, but that's not the case, right? The numbers speak for themselves. Like, it's been a remarkable run, and we've greatly benefited from that.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's fun. All right, last question here, and I'll ask you one for you, Summer, one for you, Dion. They're both kind of similar, but a little bit of different taste. Summer, what's the biggest reason that you'd recommend me as a financial advisor to others? If someone came to you and said, "Hey, who do I go see?" What would you say? Like, what would be your first lead? Mitch does this, and so you need to go see him.
It's hard because I would say I feel like a lot of it is you get to know us and what we want. So that way, because you know us, you're able to help us reach our goals. Everyone's doing this. This is definitely the best thing. We're just doing this. Like, I wouldn't feel very listened to and like, yeah, understood. So I feel like you are very good at finding out what is important to us.
You guys are easy to get to know and to enjoy. So
Thanks.
even if I didn't know you before this, as clients, you're so fun. Like you're so fun to work with. Dion, your question: if you were advising a friend who was maybe nervous about finding an advisor, what would you tell them about your experience with me that might help them feel a little more confident?
Well, I really like how you are competent and you do a good job of communicating. So, like, the things that make people nervous are macroeconomic issues, wars, elections and interest rates and things like that. You're on top of it. Like, I feel like you understand those issues. You're listening to what people are saying on both sides, and you have a balanced perspective. I also really appreciate how your advice tends to, like, you put your money where your mouth is. Like, you do the same things with your money that you're telling us to do, or like you advise us because you have experience with those things,
Yeah.
not just something you read on CNN. It's like, no, I've actually done this, and here's why it works, or why it's a good idea, or why I'm doing it, or why I've advised other people to do it. Like, that level of experience and involvement is huge in terms of allaying the fears that people would face when trying to find a financial advisor.
Hmm. Very cool.
I
Very.
I think I had those same reluctant things early on where it's like, let me just do it. I'll just do it. I've got a, what was it back then? E-Trade account. I'll just handle this, right? And realized pretty early on that getting an expert involved is such a better idea and a much better plan, not only for safety, and in fact, it's way better for safety because we're far more diversified than I ever would have done on our own, but also for performance. Like, you've been able to do way more than I ever would have, with my little day trading stuff. So Yeah, I think your level of kind of expertise and understanding of the macroeconomic issues is really helpful for the fears all of us face with regard to the economy and our own money.
It's very cool. Thank you. And I know that Newberger Bremen account and doing tithing and stuff. I think that's been helpful. I mean, I literally have you and me on the screen when I look at the time to do tithing.
Oh,
And
nice.
I'm looking for me, I'm looking for you. And I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
all right. And that's why I called the last time, like, hey, bro, Dion, it's time. It's time. So I'm doing it. It's up to you. But markets are hitting a new high. Let's go.
That's
And
cool.
so no, it's good that you'd say that. And I definitely believe that's important. I do try. I have all the investments that my clients do, and I watch them. Not only that, but then I also have all my clients in pretty much the same investments with some fluctuation. Like you guys have a REIT, like some other clients don't have a REIT because they didn't really say, hey, I want to do real estate. Some others have different types of bonds and things, but in general, like it's kind of around that same. So when I'm looking at someone else's, I'm really looking at yours, which I think gives economies of scale, and I think it allows me to be in your account, even though I'm not in your account every single day. And I think that's important. And I watch mine every day or so ish. I guess I don't really watch it as close, but I do keep track of it for sure. Well, good. Well, thank you so much. Any last minute thoughts? Anything else we want to plug in before we stop the recording piece?
No, I
Not
think
that I
you're
can think of.
a great friend and a great advisor, and we feel very lucky to have found you. And we sometimes joke about how we're lucky that give us the time of day because we're small change compared to some of your clients or most of your clients. But so we really appreciate that you've treated us like real people, even though I realize we're probably just the little peons at the end of the scale. So thank you
Drop in the
for,
bucket.
yeah, treating us like we're important,
You
even
guys
though
are.
I'm sure you've got more
You guys
important
are a big
clients.
deal. You're a big deal. So you get treated like it. So no,
Yeah, I
thank
mean,
you.
I
I
honestly,
love.
I feel like we've always been treated like we were important clients, regardless of the size of our portfolio. So thank you for that.
Very cool. That's very cool. No, thank you. No, thank you for your comments. I mean, obviously, I'm kind of soliciting these pieces, and yeah, you're probably not going to rip me on a on something that we're recording. But I do appreciate that. I love working with you guys. Like I really do. It's a pleasure. You guys and other clients like you are the reason I love what I do. Like this, like you are the reason why I enjoy it. Why I wake up every morning. I'm like, I really love what I do. People ask me, do you like your job? And I'm like, every day. I love my job because of the people I get to work with. And there's a new challenge every day because no two people are the exact same. And I get to be strategic and be like, well, for this one, this will work. And this one's kind of thinking a little bit differently. How do I get in their head to kind of think like them and help them to behave and react in a way that's going to bless their lives with their money? And it's fun. It's super fun. So, and I
That's
appreciate a
cool.
lot of things you've said because really you've said the things that I'm trying to do with clients is help them live enjoy their life.